All right, let's dive into a topic that honestly affects every single one of us, whether we realize it or not. Personal boundaries. You ever get to the end of the week and you're just toast? Completely drained, looking at your calendar like it's a monster, maybe even feeling a little resentful, but you can't quite put your finger on why? If that sounds familiar, you are definitely not alone.
Well, it turns out those feelings are usually just smoke signals. They're the surface level symptoms of a much deeper, much more widespread issue, a lack of healthy boundaries.
But if it's so common, why is it so ridiculously hard to set these limits? To understand that, we got to take a look at how our own brains are basically hardwired for survival. And look, before we go any further, I really need you to hear this. If you struggle with setting boundaries, it is not your fault. There are very real, very powerful reasons this feels so unnatural. It really boils down to two big things. First, our brains are, well, they're ancient. They're running on this old software from our tribal days, where fitting in meant staying alive. So pleasing others literally became a survival instinct. And second, from the moment we're born, we start writing this unwritten rule book for ourselves, based on our experiences, teaching us how to act to get love and stay secure with our first tribe, our family. This quote from Krista Resnick just nails it. That ancient programming is still running the show today, pushing us to just go along to get along, to avoid rocking the boat, even when it means we're the ones who end up sinking. Okay, so if our brains are kind of working against us here, what exactly are we fighting for? Let's get crystal clear on what healthy boundaries actually are. So, at their core, yeah, boundaries are the limits we set to protect our well-being. But here's the most important part. They are the primary way we teach other people how we expect and deserve to be treated. They create an expectation of respect. And these limits aren't just a one-size-fits-all thing. They apply to every part of our lives. From protecting your emotional energy from someone who drains you to protecting your actual time by not checking work emails on a Saturday. Each one is a different way we can guard our own resources. 7 hours. Just think about that number for a second. What could possibly take 7 hours? Well, for writer Krista Resnick, it was a coffee date she never even wanted. She tells this incredible story about a friend who came over and was still there when her kids got home from school that afternoon. For 7 hours, she just sat there with a splitting headache, totally unable to say the simple words, "Hey, I've got things to do." That internal rulebook was screaming that being a nice person was more important than her own comfort. Now, a 7-hour coffee date is an extreme example, for sure. But the pattern, that's universal. Every single time we say yes when our gut is screaming no, we abandon ourselves just a little bit. And over time, all that self-abandonment builds up into chronic stress, anxiety, and full-on burnout. Okay, we get the problem, we know what's at stake. So how do we fix it? Let's get into the practical stuff, how to actually draw the line. This framework here is a great roadmap. It shows that setting a boundary is a whole process. It starts inside you by listening to your gut. From there, it's about being clear and consistent. But notice those last few steps. This isn't just about you. It acknowledges that boundaries will shift your relationships, and you gotta be prepared for that. If you only take away one single thing today, let it be this. No is a complete sentence. We often feel this incredible pressure to justify, explain, and apologize for our no, but we don't have to. No is enough. It requires no defense. It is a powerful statement all on its own. I love this because it completely flips the script. Setting a boundary isn't about depriving someone else or being negative. It's actually a powerful act of saying yes to yourself, yes to your needs, yes to your well-being, and yes to your own peace. Now, let's be realistic. Knowing how to do this is one thing. Actually doing it is a whole other beast. It's a journey, and you know what? It can get messy. When you first start, that internal alarm bell, the one designed to keep you safe in the tribe, is gonna go off like crazy. You'll probably feel guilty. You're gonna make mistakes. It might even feel like a war with yourself. And yes, you might lose some relationships that were built on your lack of boundaries. But on the other side of all that discomfort is something incredible: strength, wisdom, and a deep, real sense of trust in yourself.
Because ultimately, that's the whole point. Boundaries aren't about pushing people away. They're about creating the space for healthier, more respectful, and truly supportive relationships to grow, and that starts with the one you have with yourself. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. Look at your week ahead. What is one small no you can deliver that will be a powerful yes to your own well-being?